This is Brother Cornell West, and it has been my blessing and joy to be in such high quality conversation with Brother Anthony Parker of Keeping It Honest. Make sure you never miss his show.
And welcome back again, yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander of Keeping It Honest. We don't just keep it simple, we don't just keep it real, we keep it honest. If you have any questions or comments, you can email yours truly. It's parkerman2011 at gmail.com, parkerman2011 at gmail.com. If you would like to leave a voicemail or text us, that number is 216 702 3718. 216 702 3718. And we thank you for supporting our show. We thank you for watching it. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share button and tell your friends. We try to do everything with the Parker twist. We try to give you the left side, try to give you the right side. And at the end of the day, hopefully, it's all the news and you get to look at it, but we will give you the truth. We're fair and balanced before there really was fair and balanced. And you have any questions about that, you know how to contact me. So, we like doing things with a twist. This one coming up, Fanni Willis finally speaks. Fulton County DA. Where is she? We don't hear from her. Well, we have her speaking. We don't just have her speaking. We have a big endorsement for her. Not for me, but for the church community where she lives at. They are endorsing Fanni Willis to continue to be the Fulton County DA. We know she's had some allegations, and whether you want to believe it or not, um, maybe some crookedness in her office, maybe in her personal life, moralistically. Um, but this church and the church community is backing her. So I said to myself, let's get Fanny's side. She hasn't really spoken, but let's also get the community side of why they are supporting her. So if the allegations were true, and she did, from what we all know, admit to having a marital affair, which isn't a good thing, but the church is still backing her as far as becoming again the DA of Fulton County. So how do you as a church not condemn the moralistic and spiritual things that she may have done? What is it like when you have people that are doing good things in their job, but not doing good things in their personal life? When Fanny has said this is what God has told her to do, as far as what she's been doing in her job, she's done a lot of good things. But then what has God told her about the affair that she had, that she admitted to? She feels, and if you remember, Nate feels that they've done really nothing bad. And I guess a lot of people are upset with both of them because there doesn't seem to be any remorse in that. Somebody had to get hurt in all of this. Maybe somebody did. But then when you're looking at role models, you're looking at Black women role models, you're looking at women role models, and you're putting her on a pedestal, and then she's already on her own pedestal. Do you have to separate the role model that you want to become to the person that they really are? If you have somebody that's doing good in the community and you like that, you want to be like them in the community, but then their personal life is a shambles, do you want that part of it too? It's like a catch 22. So on this program today, we're going to talk about the good that she's done. but we're also going to talk about the opinions from some of the people. I got messages right here about how they feel about the church endorsing her. And we're going to talk about this project called Project 2025. It's an amazing project, not exactly a good one to a lot of people. The pastor is going to talk about this, and then I'm going to give a little feedback on this Project 2025. Remember, you use these shows as cliff notes. You get the information, and then you read it and find out more for yourself. That's what we do. We're an advocate for news. You have your mainstream, you have your streaming, and in between that is me. My background's in streaming, background's in sorry about that, mainstream, and then my background's also in running for office. I've run for Congress. So when I give you this news, it's news that I know. And again, I tell people, if you don't like what you hear, politician, then you vote them out. Either you run or you get somebody else to run. But if you don't, these things like this Project 2025 are going to be out there. And if you're hearing about it, then that means it's already taken shape. So we're here today because we are going to hear the church endorsement of Miss Fanni Willis, Project 2025, and what some people think of the church endorsing Miss Willis.
I am honored today to be able to join with my colleagues in announcing our personal endorsements of Fanni Willis to be reelected as District Attorney of Fulton County. We make this endorsement today because of her record, because of her principles, and because of her commitment to service.
Okay, so they said record. Okay, good record. Commitment. Okay, she is committed to the community and the service. But as far as principles, let's hear it.
I became a fan of Fanni Willis before I met him, and while I was still in New Jersey. In New Jersey, I heard the story of this young prosecutor who was fighting to make sure that children did not get cheated out of a quality education. And in the midst of strong opposition and powerful forces, she held her ground and fought the good fight.
I'm holding a 5-day challenge where I'm going to show you how to make money online with ClickBank. That means making your first sale.
The fight.
Fanni Willis is a person of tremendous courage and integrity.
So they're talking about courage and integrity. Well, courage we know because she's fighting and going after drug dealers, traffickers, anybody and everybody. It's dangerous to her life. So we give her credit on that. But again, a role model, how do we separate the good from the bad?
Today, that young prosecutor is known all over the world because of her pursuit of justice, because of her commitment that no one is above the law.
Right, all right.
No one's above the law. So when she had her, I guess, situation with Nate, and they're still doing this, trying to see if her and her assistant, Mr. Nate, did some things money-wise. Was she above the law? She sat on the stand and pretty much lied about certain things, saying they hadn't had an affair before this date. It was kind of proven that it was. and she had no records of any of the money that was spent when they were going out, if it was government money. And for somebody who goes after drug traffickers and goes after receipts, she never had a receipt. Now, maybe she felt she wasn't doing anything. And as you can tell from the clergymen, they, of course, felt she hadn't done anything.
And because of fighting on behalf of all of the citizens of Fulton County. Much has been said about her stand as it relates to the 2020 election and whether or not there was an effort to disregard the will of the people. But her record is about much more than that. And we make a mistake if that's all we focus on. But somebody ought to say something about the fact that crime has been reduced by 25%.
All right.
The third highest percentage across the nation.
And that's something somebody should say too, because we don't really hear about the achievements of Miss Willis. So, as you can tell, crime has decreased. She has been out there doing programs that nobody has done and has been very successful about it. She has this program called the REACH program, and this is to mentor future students about the paths which could lead them to a successful career. Every week, members of her staff, including prosecutors, investigators, legal assistants, and others, they're in Fulton County schools working with and mentoring the young people through the REACH program. Now, if you can't say that isn't good, I don't know what can you say. So she's doing a good job in that.
Right. Somebody ought to say something about the fact that she has gone after and attacked the problem of gangs, not only across Fulton County, but gangs which infect in a negative way too many of our communities and especially our young people. And she has carried out indictments against many of the major gang leaders in this area. Somebody ought to say something about the fact that when she assumed office, there were more than 70,000 open cases. Wow. Today, all of those cases have been handled.
Right.
And I'm going to give her credit on that. I'm not going to say that all of the cases were handled, but she came in and the case log was like right here. And she really went to work, her and her staff, and they really lowered it. So whatever you hear out there in the news when they're saying that she hasn't gotten rid of, big cases, she has. So again, an accomplishment for Miss Willis.
All right. All right.
Somebody ought to talk about the fact that she's created the first pre-indictment diversion program in Fulton County, which gives people who deserve it a second chance. Through partnerships with community organizations and churches and other groups, they are able now to get skills for life and not have their future marred by a criminal record. Fanni Willis has a terrific record.
All right.
And we don't want that record to be missed because we focus on one thing.
All right.
And so we come today to endorse Fanni Willis and to make it clear that we will do everything we can to make sure that she is not only reelected, but through her reelection, send a message throughout Georgia.
So you wonder too, it's interesting. When they say they focus on one thing, what is that one thing that they focus on? Was it the affair? Was it, because what else would they focus on? Keeping it on as we continue to talk about the endorsement from the community leaders that you see for Miss Willis. And as he said, the nation is focusing on one thing. I'd like to know what is that particular one thing. If that one thing is tarnishing the good things she's done, unfortunately, that's how life and people are. How do you separate it? Let's say she did great things like, she got the caseload going down, but she's got this one thing that people are seeing. She's got people in her office, legal assistants, office staff, each week going to schools and talking to the kids about how to make a better life for their future. Good things. But is it that one thing that are tearing up those good things? And messages. Some of the messages I've gotten, I have picked up from people. This is not a civil rights issue. It is a criminal conduct of the VA issue. Democrats, party, VA or not, nobody I know likes a dirty Fanni except Mr. Wade. Doesn't look like a whole lot of supporters. Shame on these old fools. Are you endorsing Fanni Willis? Should she continue to stay in office? We know they're trying to disbar her. If you take her out, are we having a major loophole in the community, especially the African American community? Years ago, side note, President George Bush the first, he was running for president way back years ago. And I remember he was a hard president. I forget what governor he was. But he was so hard. There was a lady that was about to be executed. And she had been in prison for years. She had killed somebody. But while she was in prison, she got saved and started preaching and started helping a lot of people. So when it was time for execution, people across the world were like, well, maybe you shouldn't kill her because she's making a difference in people's lives now. George Bush, the governor back then, said, you know what? Don't care. Still going to kill her. So even the Pope had tried to talk to George Bush at the time and say, look, she's doing really good now, helping a lot of people. She did bad, killed somebody, but now she's saving people's lives. So what do you think happened? Did George Bush listen to the Pope? Nope. They executed her. So when do your bad things supersede your good things, or your good things supersede your bad things? That's a big major situation. But with Miss Willis, if she's out here helping the community and slowing up crime and helping families, if you put her out of office, are there going to be other people that would take her place and do the same thing? Well, these pastors don't think so. So they're willing to turn a blind eye, it seems.
All right.
The citizen that she was elected to serve have her back.
Yeah, right.
Let me close by saying I am fascinated with Fanni Willis. These last 4 years have been filled with pressure. One thing after another.
All right.
Threats against her life and all of that. But I'm fascinated because despite all of that, she still enjoys this job.
All right. All right.
She enjoys the job. I think she enjoys the power. If you looked at her in court, and she came down there like she was the boss and telling people as she's sitting in a witness chair what to do. Power corrupts absolute power. And I always say at one point she might have been humbled. Has she always been like that? But she does get the job done from what I've read, and you have your haters. But when you are that number one boss, whether it's Jordan, whether it's LeBron, hate is gonna hate. Okay. And all people need to do, the stronger person that you are with the attitude, as far as, being confident, people like to see you fall. People like to see you fail. And Donald Trump's like that. Fanni Willis is like that. This is going to be interesting if Fanni continues to go up against Donald Trump and try to have the charges against him, because as strong as Donald is, Fanni is too. And the church has got her back.
It's like she was born for this job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Fulton County could do no better than Fanni Willis.
All right.
So we endorse her today. And we're going to be calling upon all the citizens of Fulton County to join with us in re-electing her as Fulton County District Attorney. This time, we call it.
And the odds are she's going to win and be reelected. But I can tell you politically, if there are haters out there that don't really want her involved in this Donald Trump thing, then I can tell you politically, they will try to make sure that they get her off that trial and possibly disbar her. Can't say it won't happen. Politics is very interesting. They put you in place, and I can tell you this. They put people in place for certain positions so they don't get other positions. You don't think anybody who loves Donald Trump is not going to try to figure out how do we get Miss Willis off this case? They're going to try and figure stuff out and try their best to do it. But I tell you again, it's up to you guys to vote. No matter where you're at, vote for the people that you want in charge so other people can't take them out and put somebody else. She's got the backing of the church. But then, if you're going after somebody like Trump, you got to make sure you got a clean record too. Because she's got this clean record, but then she's also got this morality record. And that's where I come in at, and other people who look at this. And a lot of people don't like churches because of situations like this, where they're backing somebody and putting a blind eye to what that person may have done.
Dr. Timothy McDonald, the congregation remarks followed by Dr. Jamal Bryant.
Thank you so much, Bishop Jackson. This is the Civil Rights District.
All right.
Yeah. Sweet Auburn Avenue. Right in front of us on this wall is a mural of Congressman John Lewis. What we know about him is he talked about getting in good trouble.
Good trouble. Good. Yes.
If there's one person that I know who's gotten into some good trouble,
All right.
is Fanni Willis.
Yes, sir.
I love Congressman John Lewis. Yeah, he was one where, man, to the day that he passed away in the hospital, he still was writing political things to the day he died. One of my role models is John Lewis. He was a guy, for people that may or may not remember, that years ago in the Pettus Bridge, him and other people got beat big time, and almost died. So after that beating back in the 60s, not too long after that, the Civil Rights Act of 65 was passed. People back then, they fought for rules, they fought for laws, they fought for equality. They don't do it as much today, it seems. You don't hear about it today. But for this pastor to literally say that she has gotten into good trouble, like John Lewis said, Congressman Lewis, she's gotten a lot of good trouble, but boy, has she gotten into a lot of bad trouble.
Yes, sir.
And she does it with a smile. She does it with integrity. She does it with honesty. And she does it with conviction. I asked these other ministers to make sure they came up here, because I'm aware on the other side, there are also some clergy people. Well, there are people who say they are faith. I don't know what Jesus they worship.
All right. Say it.
So when you're saying that, I don't know what Jesus they're honoring. It would be interesting to have the pastors who are supporting Fanni and the pastors who aren't supporting Fanni to talk about this. And if the pastors are not supporting Fanni, is that because of the adultery or they don't think she's really good? Which one is it? So to have a split between one faith and one community, you have to ask yourself, well, which one is moralistically and spiritually right? So I got another comment here. It says, God does not, and this is from Matthew 7:21, verse 2. This is from their comment. God does not honor adultery, fornication, abortion, homosexuality, or unrighteousness. Holiness is the way. I respect her achievements, but that doesn't take away the reason for repentance.
Come on, man.
But they are the ones who want to try to turn back the clock.
All right.
They want to take us back to the 50s and the 40s.
All right.
And we're standing here today exemplifying our support of Fanni Wilson, saying, we ain't going back.
Yeah.
And the one thing that he says, he is right, because coming up, we're going to talk about Project 2025. And for all the skeptics out there that don't believe in certain things, if you fall asleep, by the time you wake up, rules and laws have been changed. I'm going to tell you about Project 2025 real soon.
All right. No, sir. And no turning around.
No way.
No turning around.
I've been trying to early for weeks.
Right.
When you die, you go to another life. Maybe heaven, maybe purgatory, maybe hell.
And while this is on, you're watching Keeping It Honest with yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander, as we are at this endorsement from the clergyman of Fulton County as they endorse Miss Fanni Willis for DA.
Several miles from where I live. They changed the time frame wherein I'm able to vote. One of the reasons I stand with Fanni Willis because she's been fighting for the right of all Georgians to vote.
Yeah, right.
Democrats and Republicans.
All right.
And to vote in a timely and reasonable fashion.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, say that.
Voting is still the best weapon that we have.
Yeah.
And Fanni Willis stands for the right of all Georgians to vote.
Yeah.
And when there is any effort to violate that and to even try to steal and circumvent that process,
Right.
she's doing the right thing.
All right.
I'm looking forward to that trial.
All right.
I'm looking forward with great excitement to see what the Bible says. Justice rolled down like gold,
Yes, sir.
and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream.
Yes, sir.
So it's important that we recognize that there's several clergy who wanted to be at this is the exact same time that Concerned Black Clergy meets every Monday morning.
Absolutely.
From 9 to 12:30. Some of us broke away, but they're still meeting.
Yeah.
So my thing is, okay, if the clergies are meeting at the same time that there's this endorsement, then why didn't they say, hey, you know what, we're meeting, we're all together, let's go as a force, all of us, to this endorsement meeting and show our support to Miss Willis spiritually? Why say, okay, well, you guys go, we're going to finish this meeting. If this is important to the community, in the future of the community, the inner city community, and law and righteousness, then why don't you guys put your heads together and say, let's all go as a force? I think back in the old days, as I said, they probably would have went together and banded together and showed people, okay, we support Miss Fanni Willis. I think that's the one mistake they made, is that they all didn't come out.
Reverend Cynthia Hale wanted to be here. The Reverend Dr. Gerald Durley wanted to be here and had conflicts. But we are here to stand in solidarity with Fulton County's DA, who has become the people's DA.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
As she faces all kinds of oppositions.
And again, what are the kinds of opposition? What did she do that people are opposing her? Let us think. Nathan Wade. That's all we can think of, pretty much.
Just in case members of the press, you have not heard about Project 2025
Tell it.
by the Heritage Foundation,
Tell it.
once headed by the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Tell it.
They have already started a process
Yes, sir.
that they want to turn back the clock on our democracy.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't read about Project 2025, go read it. Y'all smart journalists.
Read it.
You will see that these folk are people of faith as well.
Yeah.
But they don't serve Joseph's God.
All right.
We stand with Bishop Jackson.
Yeah.
We stand with Fanni Willis.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you now about Project 2025. And this is interesting because when he says something about journalists, a lot of times the media, they have information and they just don't put it out there. And then we tend, as regular people, not to know about things, maybe to stop things before it happens. But this thing, Project 2025, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to read this to you, and I need you to listen. So the purpose of this is to reshape the United States federal government to support the agenda of the Republican Party president. So now remember, Clarence Thomas, who's African American, his wife was part of forming of this Project 25. Of course, you know, Clarence Thomas is a Republican. So they're saying for Project 2025 that whoever is a Republican president, which I wonder, are they going to go by this? So what if a Democrat gets in? Are they going to use this Project 25? So Project 2025, also known as the Presidential Transition Project, is a collection of policy proposals to thoroughly reshape the United States federal government, to reshape the government in the event of a Republican victory. So if the Republicans win, they're bringing this Project 2025. Established in 2022, the project aims to recruit tens of thousands of conservatives to the District of Columbia to replace existing federal civil servants, to get rid of some of them, and to further the objectives of the next Republican president. This is very interesting, okay? So the plan, it includes slashing funding for the Department of Justice, the DOJ, dismantling the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, sharply reducing environmental and climate change regulations in favor of fossil fuel reduction, eliminating the Department of Commerce. I'm not making this up. Getting rid of the FCC and the Federal Trade Commission. Wow. So this plan, it seeks to institute tax cuts. That may sound good, but I don't think it is. So Project 2025, it recommends getting rid of the Department of Education, whose programs would be either transferred to other government agencies or it would be terminated, the Department of Education. Scientific research would only receive federal funding if it suits conservative principles. Wow. So this project urges the environment to specify or specifically reject abortion as health care. Wow. And to restrict access to contraception. So the project advises the future president, whoever that is, but they have to be Republican, to immediately, as soon as they get in, deploy the military for domestic law enforcement and to direct the DOJ to pursue Trump's adversaries by invoking the Insurrection Act. So they're saying Trump now. Before they were just saying Republicans. But they can invoke the Insurrection Act of 1907. It recommends, listen to this, the arrest, detention, and deportation of undocumented immigrants across the country. Wow. So if this Project 2025 goes into effect. Look out, country. And so some of the organizations that are involved with this, they're collaborating with a lot of different organizations. Turning Point USA, Conservative Partnership Institute, Mark Meadows, who was a staff member of Donald Trump, and this is a scary one, personally, Stephen Miller. And he's involved with American First Legal. He's a guy, kind of skinny guy, but he's a very scary guy. And if you have seen some politicians that if you know they're in office, that they will really come after you and hurt your rights, your civil rights, your federal rights. This guy, I'm telling you, Stephen, I'm telling you now, Miller, he's the worst person you would ever want to have power. If you thought Donald Trump was scary, some people, Stephen Wright, if you're a Democrat, is way more scary than Donald Trump in power, or even somebody that's in his ear. So Project 2025, letting you know, Republicans get in, whether you're Republican, Democrat, that's going to be instituted. So if anybody's watching this and you're a voter and you want rights to still be unbalanced or balanced, then you need to keep up with the news, and either you're for that or you're against that. But like I say before, one thing I like about streaming is they do give you stories that you don't hear on mainstream. But Project 2025, I'm letting you know, it's coming, whether we like it or not. And if you don't like it, then get out and vote.